People may see my occasional outburst when I get incredibly frustrated with life in general, my journey. I think the thing that most people they would never truly understand is how hard it is. Like the journey that I've been on, the sacrifice, the hard work. I mean, you could say it, but I don't think people in general, because I've noticed it in my own life, that those closest to me, they don't actually realize the sacrifice that goes into it and how much time and effort, balancing everything. Because I'm not saying I work harder than everyone, but I work harder than the average person. So the average person, for instance, just goes to work and then after that, they just get to switch off and do what they want. They're literally free for every other period of time. Now, I'm not saying don't work hard in their jobs, but with me, to sustain a decent quality of life, something that's stable, sustainable at the moment, it requires me to put myself in places of work in the same way that other people do. But then instead of having all that free time after, I have to keep working on projects because my mind won't rest. So, maybe someone sees one video and they haven't seen my story. You don't know how much I've done. I've done hundreds, if not thousands of videos. And I've been doing this journey for about, well, since forever, really, because I've been on doing various sides. But you'd say it's been mostly intense since about 2019, 2020. That's really when I started putting the effort in this direction. So it's been going 5 or 6 years at this point, and it's just continuous. So I don't get the same relaxation as other people. There's always pressures on me. So when I have an outburst, for me, it's entirely justified. To someone else, they're probably thinking it's petulant. They're probably thinking you're unstable. It's like unhinged. It's like bipolar or something. It's like, it's not. It's a genuine frustration of all the effort, and it feels an awful lot of time that it's gone to waste. To put it into context, like I say, people go to work. You do traditional work. You do whatever you want when like any other period of your time, weekends, evenings, whatever, however your shifts allow. Now, not everybody, and this is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to compare to everyone. I'm just putting it in context. You've got that, and then I've also created this. You don't just create. That doesn't just happen. This is heavy as shit. Believe me, I'm having trouble holding it. Let me just move the mic. Right. I'm I'm struggling to hold it. So that's not just one book, is it? Clearly, that's an entire collection of books. That's a lot of books, man. And there's more coming. I'm working on the next one. It's relentless. Relentless. And like I say, when you're not making a living perhaps off of it, I mean, look how many that is if you just do it sideways. That's mad. That's a lot of weight. Every single page is full of text. That's a lot of pages. That's a lot of pages. That's me bearing my soul, sharing a lot with the world. And then I've also done the same with my videos. And like I said, there's still more books to come. So when does life get fair? Is it fair for anyone to have to give so much of themselves? And it's soul destroying, but it's also incredibly exhausting. And I think anyone that gets overburdened, overtired is going to snap and react. So I never ever feel bad about anything I do. Like, for instance, if I have an outburst, for me, it's entirely justified. Like I said, someone else will perceive it in whatever way they want, but they're not the ones going through what I'm going through. It's like I say it a lot, and I'm not trying, again, it's not always trying to compare. And there are people who are incredibly resilient, but I don't think the majority of people would have continued at the rate that I did when you're not seeing viable results. I get the odd sale here and there, but it's so sporadic, and there's incredibly lull periods where there's nothing happening at all. And for every one of these books, for instance, I've sat and recorded the audiobook. I've read it out loud, narrated it, published an audiobook. So it doesn't just end with the books. I then do audiobooks for all of them. And then, of course, I do my other video content too. And I would say someone, I don't want to keep showing them, but someone that's done that amount of work, like, it doesn't have to be me, but someone that's done that much work, you would say, I think they deserve the opportunity to be successful. I think something should have happened. And I don't think for a moment any of these books are not worth reading. They're going to help people in their life, but people obviously need to want to help themselves. Um, and of course, you have to trust who you're getting the information from. This is my spiritual book. Well, and that's what's coming next, the sequel to that. And then you've got my Father's Daughter series, which is Family Court. But yeah, I mean, there's a mixture there. You got a Family Court Trauma, you got a spiritual book, and you got like 3 books on personal development, personal growth, healing, personal transformation, all that. So like people that can really help them in their life and find their strength, find their value, learn to lean and love on themselves. Because I think in general, I don't want to go on a tangent here, but people do need to start prioritizing themselves in their lives. If I see success from what I've done, it is self-made, and I recognize it might take someone helping at some point for a breakthrough to occur. I don't know. But the one thing that will never happen with me, I will never ever do anything against what I feel is the right thing to do. So, for instance, if someone allowed me a platform and an opportunity come, but they intend to do so to mold and sculpt me into what they want because they see me as a commodity, they would find that I swiftly reject them. So even if it's a flight somewhere and it looks like you're getting this deal of a lifetime, and that deal is subjected to ridiculous terms and things that I have to abide by that I don't agree with, I would have absolutely no hesitation in rejecting it, returning home, and continuing the longer path. So I won't allow someone to take advantage of me. I won't allow someone to dictate a narrative. And it literally would be on my terms. Now, I'm as fair as can be, but it's like I have a limit. For instance, let's just put this into example. I'm incredibly balanced in the way I see life. Now, some people might consider it unhinged, and I suppose they see life differently. So now I can understand how one perception is unhinged compared to another. But for instance, my life isn't governed by money, never has been. But I feel I have a lot of value. So it doesn't mean I'm prepared to be taken advantage of either. So again, I wouldn't let someone abuse or take advantage of me. So I wouldn't, like, for instance, if there's a contract offer or something, I'm not going to lowball myself just because my life isn't governed by money. I still value myself and I know what I'm worth. But to put that in another side of context, though, let's say I was happily in a relationship, married, whatever, or any situation like that, really. And let's say you're on holiday with your spouse, you're enjoying yourself. This is like a lot of time you're working. You've got obvious things, your projects you're working on. Now you've took a time out. This is specifically for them. It's for you two. And let's say you had an agent, a manager, whatever, and they're saying there's someone famous. They want to meet you. They think you can help them in with what they're going through at the moment. But it has to be now. So literally, it's almost like a chance of a lifetime. Or there's a lot of money involved, or there's a lot of prestige involved, and it's now or never. One thing with me in life is I won't put up with ultimatums. If that does not align time-wise with me, I couldn't give a shit who it is. And I think people need to have that authority of their life, and it's the one thing I have absolutely of mine. We're all here to live our life, be fulfilled, and to be happy. And I'm not going to allow anybody to order me about to reduce my happiness. So if I've created a window of space where this is my time to enjoy myself, have this experience, and someone's going to intrude on that time, even if they're waving money in my face or potential opportunity, it's like, no. And I'd make it clear, if I had an agent, I'd make it clear I don't want to hear about any opportunities. I don't give a shit who it is. It could be the Pope. It could be the freaking, it could be anyone. I don't care. If this is my window, and they would know because my personality is strong. So if I had someone like that. And I'm just saying in general, that's what I want. Like, I think the moments in life are the ones we hold dear to. I think too many people chase the fool's gold. They forgo memories. They forgo moments. I would never want, like, if I'm in a relationship with someone, for instance, or I'm married, or even my daughter, for instance, I would never want any of them to feel second choice to anything else. It's like, no, you have my undivided attention, and someone might think they're more important, and maybe in popularity and prestige, perhaps they are elevated above the average person. But we're all human beings having a human experience, and I don't care how popular you are. I don't care about your status. I don't care about your money. That person is not more important to me than those closest to me. So if you're in my inner circle, there's no one more important in this world. I will try to help people where I can, whether they are prestigious or whether they're not prestigious. But I guarantee you right now, someone who is famous, someone who has status, is not more important to me than my daughter. And there's no one ever going to convince me otherwise. She has the highest rank in my life. So, I think the thing is, most people don't live like that. They don't. They allow things to derail them. They allow the idea of someone's title to determine their value, their worth. I know exactly what I want in my life. And like I say, I think the experiences are the things we hold, we should be cherishing, because time is short. So yeah, I do. My life is hard a lot of the time, and it's sometimes self-inflicted. But a lot of the time, I'm arguing with the universe because I don't think it's fair. I think it's about time. It's about time things improved. I've put the work in, and I continue to do so, even when I have my little. You call it hissy fit, hissy fit, what you like. And the videos are going to likely reduce, just because I don't want to keep doing everything for free anymore. Like, my life isn't about money, but I have a lot, but I feel like I deserve more than nothing. And it's like, that's what's been happening. And it's like, until something improves, I'm not going to keep bashing my head against a wall. Because the way I see it is, there's enough content at this point. If there's not an audience, there's not an audience. That's fine. The work's there. There might still be sporadic videos here and there. Maybe I feel so inclined to do so. I'm more at the moment thinking about creative projects with the books. Like, for instance, I say I'm working on the spiritual one to come out next, but I also really feel inspired to work on a couple of other projects as well. And it will distract my mind, but it'll actually make me inspired. And although it's work and it's exhausting at times, it's something you feel passionate about. So it's almost like it's a good use of time. Because every time we have time, of course, we can use it in whatever way we want. You can use it spending time with people. You can use it spending time in solitude. You can do it being creative, following your passions. You can do it by just distracting yourself with entertainment. You can do it. You can travel. You can cook. At time is literally what we make of it. Of course, it's up to us what we use it for. So, although sometimes some things are exhausting and it's work, it's actually sometimes quite exciting and liberating. And yeah, it can feel it. Sometimes it's a heavy burden, but sometimes it's actually really exciting. And when I get in the flow state and things, I'm just really excited about what I'm doing. It breathes life into me, But then often it's the weight on my mind of the multiple projects I want to complete, and then the lack of growth in the ones I've already done. So, like, I wouldn't pick any of my books as inferior to any of the others. Do you know what I mean? Like, I might go, oh, that's my favorite one. But then it's like, I might read the passage of one of the others and go, oh, I forgot how good that one is. You know what I mean? So I love all my books. And I would never release something if I didn't think it was good enough. So I stand by everything I've done. And I'd say, this is a beautiful representation of me. And of course, it all started with one. And then it's just stemmed into more. And it's going to continue to grow. And then I guess maybe if recognition does come, people will think it's come out of nowhere. Like, what's happened here? Like, how the hell is there all this work? And it's like, mate, I've been working tirelessly for a long time with very little reward. And I think realistically, when people judge, I don't care about people's judgments and things. But I think sometimes it's worth putting yourself in someone else's shoes and think what it would feel like to be this relentless and feel like you're in quicksand, not getting anywhere. Like, how hard have you got to work? Sometimes it's like you just got to give it time, I guess. But it's given enough time. And so, yeah, I do get snappy. And I do know how good I am at what I do. And I'm not going to dim that. I don't like it when people are fake. And I'm definitely not fake. So I would rather someone perceives me as arrogant than hiding something, because I don't hide. So there's no point me deflecting and going, oh, no, it's not. Well, it's not that good. I know how good it is. I know how good I am at what I do. I know how intelligent I am. And I know I can articulate. So there's no point me acting like I can't, or I feel less than anyone else, because I don't feel inferior. I'm not saying I'm superior to anyone, but I don't feel inferior to anyone. I don't have that in me. I don't have an inferiority complex, because I've never looked up at people like that. I think that's the thing. I think too many people get obsessed about celebrities and status. I've never flinched with that, because I don't care. I look beyond that at the person. And we're all just people. You know, some people have opportunity, other people don't. Some people are born into wealth and other people aren't. It really makes no difference. We're all still people. It's just we've had different experiences. And I just think the experiences I've had have tested and challenged me. And rather than let it sink me, I've swam. So I've challenged myself to overcome everything. And through that, I've gained an awful amount of knowledge and wisdom. Because everything I've overcome, it's sort of like it's added an extra layer of armor to me. So everything I talk about is drawn upon personal experience. So I don't have to recite something that someone's told me. So I don't have like an imposter syndrome, and I really couldn't care less if someone imitates me or whatever they do, because they're just a copy of me. That is not as if you're just copying, you're never going to be the master. You know, it's like, because it's in me. You could ask me something and I'll have the answer immediately. Whatever is, obviously, if I know the answer. If I don't, I would obviously say it's something for me to challenge myself and work on, because we're all learning all the time, you know. But like I said, all the videos I do, I don't make notes. If you see me looking left or right, I'm just thinking. It's like I've shown my setup enough times on camera. Literally, just got one screen that's empty, or I might sometimes put the recording there so I can look that way. But sometimes I keep it empty because I've got two screens and one just goes over there. It's like literally there's nothing here. No notes. You'd know if I was reading notes, because I'd be a lot more focused than just trying to read. You'd notice it. But yeah, I just flow because that's how I am. I prefer to think off the cusp. Prefer to have a topic in mind. I don't want this to be long-winded in any way. I just thought it'd be interesting, just to put it into context, really, where the outbursts come from. And for me, like I said, I think it's entirely justified. Sometimes I think, should I post that? Is it better just not to post that, because it might derail the messages of the previous videos? But then I just think it's really important to be transparent, because there's going to be people that go through similar. You know, you work hard. You can't. When you work hard at something, you can't always guarantee success, at least immediate success. And I think if we negate the whole journey and don't share the lows as well as the highs, it's going to be like half the process to other people. It gives the wrong message. Someone else, maybe they go on a healing journey. Maybe they think, right, my life's going to improve so much, it's going to be great. And then they recognize that really the external isn't matching the internal. Like the work you've done, it's like it's not matching on the outside. It was all for nothing. There's going to be a period of that where you think, this isn't right. But it's all resetting, you know. But there's going to be periods when you're going to really, really lose your mind, really. It's going to be horrible. But it's almost like that's the sacrifice. You know, we have to shed the old to bring in the new. And sometimes we have to let go of those fears where we hold on to that attachment just that little bit too long. Because the idea of having nothing is absolutely terrifying. But I think sometimes we have to risk it for our freedom. So yeah, there's times when I'm reactive as well. And like I said, there's no guarantee tangible material growth is going to come. There's no guarantee that. But what I would say, the internal has definitely evolved and grown. So even if on the outside, the world we live in and the opportunities we have don't match the growth we've had, we should really recognize the amount of growth that is there, though. For instance, you're not like for me personally, I'm no longer interested at all in superficial, low vibrational people, the toxic tendencies, the lifestyles, all the things that people from my past were attached to. I don't have interest in at all. So there's certain things I've outgrown, and even if the finances don't match what I think I deserve, there's still a lot of growth been had. And it means that going forward, I'll make the most of life in general. I have higher values. And effectively, that should align with higher value people. Not talking about wealth, people who have higher sort of status in their minds, people that actually value themselves, not people who are looking to bring people down at the first opportunity and gossip and drama and all that toxic crap, and they just destroy their bodies and their minds. And that's not what I'm attracted to, and that's not what I'm building towards. And I think you can take away the material, but it's fundamentally, it's aligning with people who have substance to their life. They just want more for themselves rather than the toxic temptations everybody else lives by. So what someone may consider boring is actually quite peaceful and beautiful. And it's kind of like, I'm happy to take the beautiful path and be happy. If that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, so I just thought I'd discuss that a little bit, really, just to make it clear why I get frustrated. Because I'm sort of like balancing two worlds at the same time continuously. So you either put yourself in traditional work to compensate for the lack of finances from the work you've been doing on the internal and through the books and things, because you're not seeing rewards yet, even though that should be sustaining me at this point. For whatever reason, it's not. So then you either have to balance, like I said, the other side, you haven't do two worlds at the same time, which is incredibly exhausting, or you don't and you focused heavily just on your growth, your projects, your creativity, but there comes a heavy financial penalty for that, which brings its own stress. Of course, added frustration. Either way, there's frustration because no one likes to be under financial pressure. Also, it's not nice to be in places where you've outgrown, you don't like the environment, and you deserve better than what is being offered at the moment. So either way, there's a level of frustration that's going to come out one way or another, because again, the external isn't matching the internal. And I think until it matches, it's going to be frustrating on a regular basis. See, people don't see every side of me. You see most of what I do, but of course, I can only talk so much. But it's like there's a lot of times in my own life, like even when I'm not recording, when I'm ridiculously frustrated. There's times when I don't even want to get out of bed. I'll get out of bed because I'm not lazy and I've got too much to do, and I just couldn't do that. But a part of me doesn't want to. There's a side that just sometimes I'm like, there's no point to anything, and I'll get incredibly despondent and lost. And it's like, this is just not fair. Because internally, I know all the work I've put in for so long, and it's been so selfless. I've done it time and time again. I do the videos because I recognize some people just can't read. They're not articulate, and I know it can reach more people, but I don't get any money for the videos. Never have. So I do the videos for people, but it doesn't help me. It's like, that's not fair. I just think things should be fair. Now, in the future, perhaps things can be monetized. I don't know how it all works 100%. Like if you can get monetized, I don't know if everything gets monetized or if it's only new content gets monetized. So does all your previous content get lost to a degree in terms of opportunity? You know what I mean? So there's like all those factors. And there's no guarantee you even get enough of an audience to monetize in the first place. And like I said, there's a huge period where I'm just getting nothing for so much effort. And it does get a bit demoralizing. So sometimes you think I'm not doing it. And there'll be times when I just absolutely downright refuse to do anything at all. Because in fact, realistically, in those periods, without realizing sometimes, I think it's just burnt out. You just get exhausted anyway. And you need to rest. And eventually it's like the drive to continue, it just naturally comes back. You don't want to sometimes, but it's like can't fight an urge, you know. So, you know, life effectively, no matter about however much we get frustrated, and things don't really match the reality at times. Overall, it's kind of like, what's the point of being here? What's our purpose? And then it's just get on with it, you know. So if you don't get rewarded in this lifetime, as unfair that is, and it's truly unfair, I've still got a job to do. So just get on doing it. Maybe it works out, maybe it don't. But I think, like I said, at the end of the day, we've all got time to use. It's like, what do we want to use it for? You can distract ourselves, you can abuse your body, you can destroy your mind, do all these things. Or you can follow your creative pursuits, or you can try to change the planet. But again, we all have time, and it's just how we use it. And, you know, sometimes I distract myself and I'll go into gaming mode, I'll watch sports, I do all these things. But I always know this is just distracting me for a period. But sometimes we need to relax, and it's helpful. But there's obviously more substantial things we can accomplish rather than those things. And I think if you have potential in you to achieve something, you owe it to yourself to, I think, at least try. And even if it's just a section of your life, it's worth sacrificing, I think, for a period. Because like, even if I don't write another book and I stop making videos, the videos are there. The videos are there, and I know I did it, and I've done the books. I mean, there's more books coming, but if I decided I weren't, I don't think you would go, oh, at least in myself, I wouldn't think, oh, what a waste of potential. You know, there's still so much in you. It's like, if I stopped, I wouldn't think that at all. I'd think, I've given me here. You don't have to just keep building and building and building. It's only because I have things to talk about and things I want to write about that I'm actually going to keep building. There'll be a day potentially when there's nothing new. Who knows? But for now, I would say that's not a bad legacy to leave behind if this is what I leave behind, at least for me. So I think I've used my time well. Yeah, I get exhausted, I get fed up, but I don't regret it. And I think it's just, that's the challenge to people, isn't it? If you look at your life, you look at what you've accomplished, look what you've achieved, the things you got. Are you proud of your journey? I'm not here to say you should be doing what I'm doing, because we've all got our own talents. And that doesn't minimize someone else's talents. But I think a lot of people distract themselves with material things. So, you know, maybe you just keep buying and buying things, and it doesn't add any substance to your life, and time's getting away, but you just repeat the same life every year. Like, let's say buying tellies every 3 years you buy a telly or something, because it's crazy, because some people just buy TVs all the time. But let's say you just keep acquiring. You need a new smartphone every year. You know, you want the latest and greatest. And that's literally the things you strive for every year. It's so superficial. It's so pointless. Effectively, and I'm not trying to put anything down here, but every time you do that, what happens to the thing you had previous year? It has no value. So the only thing that has value is the next thing you're acquiring. So what are you actually adding to your journey? Not really anything, because it's like the thing you just acquired is going to be meaningless to you in a year. And if it's meaningless to you, it's likely meaningless to anyone else. So in 10 years' time, okay, you've been through maybe 10 smartphones. That's not much. That's not much of life. I'm just trying to make people see a little bit there, reflect upon your life. The superficial really isn't substance. It's a distraction. And I know people strive for things like that, and it's like that's their goal for the year, and it's like it's not a very good goal. If I'm being honest, it's not a good goal. You know, I've got my one's iPhone 14 Pro. The camera, I got it. I chose the Pro because it's got the better camera. It's got the extra level of camera, and I know this phone's going to last a while. I'm in no rush to replace it. It'll last. I don't care about getting a new one every year. What's the point? The phone, for me, I don't know. Everybody obviously does certain things with their phones. For me, it's just obviously social media, which I get fed up with anyway, and then just random things to do on the phone. But it's not something that needs to be ultra powerful. So what would the next phone offer me more than this one? Oh, it has a stronger battery life. It's already got a decent battery life. And you can just charge it. Oh, it's got a better camera. It's already got a good camera. It's already quality. It's like sometimes you have to ask yourself, like, what is it you're actually looking for, rather than the status? Because a lot of the time these things are status related. It's like, that's the thing. People maybe they got even I'm not just putting it into context because this is why I just think people should just like focus on uplifting their lives and strive for things rather than distract themselves with waste. Because a lot of the time, the money we waste on things is actually it comes from sort of the work we've had to put in to acquire it. So some people have to work their ass to death just to have things that are so unnecessary. Like for instance, I mean, obviously, everyone's different. If someone likes fashion, they like fashion. It's up to them. But you could have someone like I've got a plain shirt. This is next. I think it's like 2 for a tenner or something crazy. I don't know if the price went slightly up, but I've got about 10 of these. Obviously, I've got a couple of other colours, but I like this. It's just basic. I prefer basic. I don't like all this extravagant shit. But let's say someone's got Gucci or something written around it. Now it's cost them 60 quid. I don't know the branding. I don't know the pricing. But let's say it's cost you £60 for a t-shirt. I'm thinking that's mental. It's cost 2 for a tenner. You know what I mean? No, I'm sorry. It's a shirt. I don't care. I think plain is smart anyway. But again, it's like it all adds up, doesn't it? If you're hemorrhaging money there, you're hemorrhaging money there, you're hemorrhaging money there. It's a bit of it's a very incredibly superficial life. But again, if you can afford the luxuries, I think there's nothing wrong with it. But again, I think just look at your life in general and think, what is it you want to achieve? It doesn't have to be for financial benefit. It doesn't have to be for like a big legacy. I think sometimes it's just for like, it can inspire those around you, your growth, elevation, even if you're just honing in on a skill. And sometimes we can leave things for the next generation, but of course, not everybody's going to be doing that. But I think sometimes it's about just inspire the ones closest to us, you know, even if it's just growth, I think is a beautiful thing. So yeah, there's times when we will get frustrated, especially on a healing journey for sure. And I think anyone that acts like they didn't have a bit of a crisis at times when they are healing, I think it's incredibly denial. They're either forgetting or just ignoring the process. So anyway, the healing journey isn't definitely not for the faint of heart, and you will sacrifice a lot. You will lose your mind on a regular basis. You will challenge your ego, and you will sort of restore your health, your mental health. And that's the thing. So like, my ego is always challenged, always in perpetual battle, and it's like, so that's why I say, like, if I say I'm not doing any more videos again, and then later on you see me doing videos, it's because I fought my ego and won. Yeah. Your ego is the thing stopping you a lot of the time, isn't it? So the ego tells us, no, no, no. And then you look stupid when you come back. So that's your ego saying, I don't want to look stupid. So I can care what I look like. In that moment, I meant it. So that's why I keep things, you know. If I meant it then, it stays then. It's almost like a timeline of events. So yeah.